Emperor Yongle and the Karma Kagyu, a legacy of devotion. In the year 1403, a massive imperial caravan departed from Nanjing, the capital of the Ming Dynasty. They carried a message that would change the course of Asian history. It was a letter written in gold ink on fine silk, sent by the Yongle Emperor. The recipient? A 22-year-old Tibetan monk named Deshin Shekpa, the fifth Karmapa. But this wasn't just a diplomatic invite. This was the start of one of the most documented spiritual bromances in history. To understand this, we have to look past the politics and see two men who, despite being world leaders, were both searching for something deeper. 2. Beyond politics, a deep personal bond. Was it just politics? Most historians say no. While the priest-patron relationship helped stabilize the borders, the personal records suggest a genuine, deep-seated devotion. The search for a father figure, Yongle was a fierce warrior, but he was also a man in mourning. He had lost his parents, and his path to the throne was marked by the blood of a civil war. In the fifth Karmapa, who was much younger than him, Yongle found a spiritual father. When the Karmapa finally arrived in Nanjing in 1407, the emperor didn't just wait in his palace. He rode out to the city gates to meet him, an almost unheard-of act of humility for a Ming emperor. For the next several months, they were inseparable. They ate together, discussed philosophy late into the night, and the emperor even began practicing meditation under the Karmapa's guidance. The ritual of the parents, the heart of their relationship, was the universal salvation ritual. Yongle was obsessed with the well-being of his deceased parents. He watched as the Karmapa performed the Mass of Universal Salvation for 22 days. Imagine the scene. Thousands of monks chanting, the air thick with incense, and the Emperor of China standing side by side with a Tibetan lama. For Yongle, this wasn't about controlling Tibet. It was about his soul and the peace of his ancestors. He believed the Karmapa was the only person on earth with the spiritual keys to ensure his parents' enlightenment. 3. The miracles, a shared vision. During these rituals, something happened that moved Yongle so deeply he ordered the world's most expensive scrapbook to be made. We're talking about the Great Miracle Scroll. This wasn't just a painting. It was a 50-meter-long legal document of the supernatural. It recorded rainbows that didn't fade, visions of golden light, and the appearance of celestial cranes. The Black Crown vision, the peak of their bond, was the vision of the Vajra crown. Yongle claimed that during a teaching he saw a mystical hat of black light hovering over the Karmapa's head. This was a private, mystical experience. To honor it, Yongle commissioned a physical crown made of the finest silk and jewels. When he placed it on the Karmapa's head, he wasn't just giving a gift. He was acknowledging that he, the Emperor of the Middle Kingdom, recognized the Karmapa's invisible spiritual sovereignty. IV. The Kagyu legacy in China. The relationship between the Ming court and the Karma Kagyu created a cultural bridge that lasted for centuries. At that time, the Karma Kagyu influence spread through the Chuanzang, Sichuan, Tibet, Tea-Horse Road, the capital hub. In Nanjing, temples like Lingu Temple became centers for Tibetan Buddhist translation. The borderlands. In what is now Yunnan, Lijiang, and western Sichuan, Kham, the Ming government supported the construction of major Kagyu centers. These served as schools for art, medicine, and philosophy. Where are they today? Today, this legacy is part of China's rich multi-ethnic harmony history. Gongga Monastery, Sichuan. High in the mountains, this remains a significant Kagyu site. The Muli and Lijiang temples. In Yunnan, you can still see the architectural blend of Ming Chinese style and Tibetan Kagyu style. The Forbidden City and National Museums, original scrolls and statues gifted by Yongle, are preserved as national treasures in Beijing and Lhasa. Versus conclusion, the gift of independence. In the end, the most telling part of their relationship was when it was time to say goodbye. Yongle offered the Karmapa the military power to rule all of Tibet. It was a blank check for power. But the Karmapa said something profound. The sun and moon shine on everyone equally. Why should one person rule all? The emperor respected the answer. He allowed the Karmapa to return to Tibet with his independence intact, proving that their bond was built on mutual respect, not just imperial control. The story of the first Tai Situ Rinpoche. The relationship between the Yongle Emperor and the fifth Karmapa extended to his closest disciples, most notably the first Tai Situ Rinpoche, Chokyi Gyaltsen. The disciple and the emperor. When the fifth Karmapa traveled to Nanjing in 1407, he was accompanied by Chokyi Gyaltsen. The emperor was deeply impressed by his administrative skill and meditative realization. He saw a visionary leader who could maintain the priest-patron relationship for generations. The naming, Tai Situ. In 1407, the Yongle Emperor bestowed upon him the title Guangwu Guoxi. However, the most famous title came shortly after, Tai Situ. The name is a Tibetan transliteration of the Chinese title Da Situ, Daji, Da Tai, Great, Situ, an ancient Chinese cabinet-level rank, traditionally meaning Grand Minister or Great Overseer. The emperor presented Chokyi Gyaltsen with a black seal and official imperial documents, marking the formal beginning of the Tai Situ lineage. The Nam, title, connection, the Karmapa, the supreme teacher, recognized as a Buddha on earth, the Tai Situ, the pillar of the lineage, designated as a regent or prince of the Dharma to help manage and protect the lineage. This established a system where the Tai Situ Rinpoches would often become the heart sons who find and recognize the next reincarnation of the Karmapa, the Admiral, the Empress, and the Lama, the Emperor of the Great Horizon. Yongle commissioned Admiral Zheng He to build the treasure fleet ships over 120 meters long. While his ships conquered the oceans, Yongle looked for a spiritual anchor. He wanted to be a Chakravartin, a universal Buddhist monarch, with the Karmapa as his spiritual counterpart. 2. The Faithful Empress, a bridge of devotion. Empress Xu was perhaps even more personally devoted to the Karmapa. She had profound spiritual visions of him and was a primary driver behind the invitation. The rituals of peace. She stood at the forefront of the female court during the 22 days of miracles. The legacy of the parents. Her face set a trend for the entire Ming nobility to support the Karma Kagyu school. 3. How the Ming made the Kagyu strong in Tibet. The Karma Kagyu became exceptionally influential due to the Ming multiple enfeoffment policy. 1. Economic support. Massive amounts of silk, gold, and tea were sent to Kagyu monasteries. 2. Political prestige. Titles like Dabao Fawang gave lamas diplomatic immunity recognized across Asia. 3. The Cultural Golden Age. This era saw the birth of the encampment style, Karma Gadri, of painting, blending Tibetan themes with Ming Chinese brushwork. The secret silk and artistic DNA. The embroidered miracles. Yongle used imperial silk weaving to immortalize the Karmapa. Massive silk thangkas were woven using gold thread. One of these recently sold for $45 million, showing the world still recognizes the value placed on the Karmapa 600 years ago. The Empress's personal vow. Empress Xu took a personal vow of vegetarianism and practiced the meditations the Karmapa taught her. When she passed, the emperor credited the fifth Karmapa's rituals with giving her a peaceful transition. The tea horse diplomacy. The emperor sent imperial tea. The Karmapa sent Himalayan horses. This created a cultural corridor still visible today in the Ming-style rooftops of Kagyu temples in Lijiang and Kangding. How the lineage views the emperor today. 1. The golden age of recognition. Yongle is seen as a visionary patron who provided a global confirmation of the Tulku system. 2. The living presence of the Black Crown. Every time the 17th Karmapa wears the crown, he wears the legacy of the emperor's vision. 3. The Empress as a role model, seen as the perfect example of using power for peace and a mother of the lineage. 4. The Tai Situ Bridge. The emperor is seen as the one who established the father and son structure that has kept the lineage stable for 600 years. 5. Art as spiritual DNA. Modern Kagyu artists look back at Ming patronage as the proof that lineage can transform empires. Closing thought. In the end, the giant treasure ships of the Ming Dynasty eventually returned to the dust, and the great walls they built became monuments of the past. But the Black Crown, born from an emperor's vision and a lama's realization, remains. It reminds us that while empires are built with stone and wood, the strongest bridges are the ones built between two people, an emperor searching for peace, and a master offering a path to find it. True power isn't about who rules the land, but who awakens the heart.